The greatest anxiety of our time is not about having enough, but about being enough. We constantly measure our phones, our opinions, and our lifestyles against the invisible standard of the crowd, terrified of being left behind or rejected. The source of our deepest peace, however, lies not in fitting in, but in our courageous, conscious decision to be different. We will apply this ancient insight to free ourselves from the mess of enslavement and inequality, adding our perspective to support all other efforts dedicated to the betterment of humanity. In chapter 20, Lao Tzu tells us, "Give up learning and put an end to your troubles. The crowd is joyous as if feasting on a sacrificial ox or climbing a tower in springtime. I alone am tranquil and reveal no signs, like an infant that has not yet smiled. I am weary, like one who has no home to return to. The crowd has more than enough. I alone seem in want. I have the mind of a fool. How confused I am. The crowd is bright and clever. I alone am dull and ignorant. The crowd is alert and sharp. I alone am vague and adrift. I am different from ordinary people. I value drinking from the mother." This chapter is perhaps Lao Tzu's most personal and vulnerable. He isn't presenting abstract philosophy here. He has given us raw confession of what it feels like to walk the path of the Tao in a world that values the exact opposite. He begins with a shocking declaration: "Give up learning and put an end to your troubles." This isn't a call to ignorance, but a radical invitation to unlearn, to shed the layers of social conditioning, popular opinions, and conventional wisdom that cloud our natural perception. He then paints a stark contrast. The crowd is joyous, bright, clever, and alert. They are feasting, climbing, achieving, fully engaged in the worldly dance of ambition and approval. And Lao Tzu, he feels weary, dull, like an infant that has not yet smiled. This is the portrait of someone who has stepped off the treadmill. The energy that fuels the crowd no longer fuels him, so he appears exhausted by their pursuits. His confusion is not a lack of intelligence, but the natural disorientation of someone who has seen through the game and is now searching for a deeper, truer reality. The most powerful line is in his conclusion: "I am different from ordinary people. I value drinking from the mother. The mother is the Tao, the source, the nourishing root of all life. While the crowd drinks from the poisoned well of social validation and material success, the sage chooses to drink from a different source. This is the core of the peace he finds. His alienation from the crowd is a direct price of his connection to the eternal." This theme of the conscious outsider who finds truth in solitude is a universal archetype. In Stoicism, the ideal is to become a citadel unto oneself. The Stoic sage finds peace not in external validation, but in their own virtuous character and rational mind. They are often at odds with popular culture, which they see as driven by irrational passions. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is the act of a madman to pursue the impossible, and it is impossible for the wicked not to act in such a way." The Stoic accepts being out of step as a cost of integrity. In Gnosticism, the core myth is that the enlightened being is a stranger in a strange land. They possess a divine spark. Trapped in a material world, created by a false god, the demiurge, the Gnostic feeling of alienation is a sign of their awakening, their recognition that the consensus reality is a prison. Their entire quest is to return home, much like Lao Tzu yearning to drink from the mother. In Buddhism, the first noble truth is that life is dukkha, often translated as suffering, but better understood as dis-ease or unsatisfactoriness. The crowd in Lao Tzu's chapter is in a state of denial about this truth, masking it with feasting and cleverness. The Buddhist practitioner, by acknowledging dukkha, immediately becomes different. Their path of mindfulness and non-attachment makes them seem dull or vague to those chasing sensory pleasures, but it leads to the profound peace of nirvana. In Sun Tzu's The Art of War, the strategic mind must often act contrary to conventional wisdom. All warfare is based on deception. Sun Tzu states, "The brilliant general appears dull and confused to the enemy, while secretly being sharp and clear." This strategic non-conformity is a material expression of Lao Tzu's spiritual principle. To win, you must sometimes be willing to look like you're losing, and to find clarity, you must be willing to dwell in apparent confusion. This philosophy is our direct threat to the social engineering of corporations, governments, and organized religions. Their system, from social media algorithms to corporate branding, is designed to manufacture our consensus and pathologize our differences. It makes us feel like the terror of being left out, so we will constantly consume, conform, and seek outer salvation through their metrics of likes, shares, and purchases, all while a special group hoards resources that could liberate our communities. This knowledge is suppressed because a people who are comfortable being out of step are economically and politically unmanageable. We become immune to the viral outrage cycles, their advertising peer pressure, and the fear of not being bright and clever enough. Our self-worth is derived from our internal connection to the mother, to nature, our shared silence, our own creative spirit, not from the fluctuating approval of their crowd. Applying this to our practice of building inner citadel together, we cultivate holy ignorance. We give ourselves permission to unlearn. We curate our collective information diet ruthlessly, recognizing it as an act of power to not know the latest scandals and outrages that they push. This creates our shared mental space and ends the troubles of minds filled with their toxic data. We reframe our weirdness, the qualities that make us feel vague and adrift in their hyper-specialized world, our electric interest, our slow and deep thinking, our discomfort with their shallow talk, are not our liabilities. These are the signs that we drink from a different, deeper well. We will protect these qualities fiercely. We build islands of sanity. We create and nurture our small communities where it is safe to be dull, where our conversations are not performances and our values is not measured by productivity or wit. Our book clubs, our community gardens, and our mutual aid groups become our sanctuaries, where we can recharge from the exhausting brightness of their artificial world. The peace we seek is on the other side of our fear of being different. Their feast is fleeting and their tower is fragile, but nourishment from the mother is eternal. We will embrace the wary, confused, but profoundly real feeling of being out of step with their system. This is not a sign that we are broken. It is the clearest sign that we are finally truly coming home to ourselves and to each other.